Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Breakfast All Day. I'm Christy. That is Matt. That is Alonso. The zombified forms of all three of us are here to talk about Army of the Dead. We're the fast-moving zombies, though. We want to go gamble in Las Vegas and also eat some brains.
Oh, no, I'm a shambler.
What are they? Is it alphas? What are they called?
Alphas.
Alphas,
and
yes,
shamblers.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm a shambler.
I shamble. I creep.
Christy, you go
right.
do that fast track zombieing. We're just
Exactly,
we're just
whatever.
laid back over here.
Exactly. So Army of the Dead is a story about, really, it's a heist movie in Vegas. It's almost Ocean's 11 with zombies.
It's completely that.
Right. Dave Bautista is a survivor of the zombie apocalypse that has struck Vegas very early in the film. It opens up with a military convoy that gets hit by a car and a zombie pops
After
up.
leaving Area 51.
Right. After leaving Area 51, it turns out they're transporting a zombie who bites a couple of the other soldiers, and they all fuck off to Vegas very quickly and ruin everything, or make it better, depending on your feelings on Vegas. Vegas gets walled in, and there's talk that there's going to be a nuclear attack and use a nuclear missile, a low-yield nuke, to pretty much wipe out the zombie problem. Dave Bautista is one of the few survivors that made it out, and is known for having basically fought his way out and helping survivors. He is approached by a Japanese businessman who says, hey, put a team together. I want you to go steal $200 million out of the vault of my hotel that I already got paid for by the insurance, and so nobody's going to miss it, and I'll let you keep 20 million. So he puts the team together, and they go in, and zombie shenanigans ensue. This is directed by Zack Snyder, not adapting something. This is...
And also not a sequel to Dawn of the Dead.
And not a sequel to Dawn of the Dead. This movie shows us that Dave Bautista can carry a movie. And I don't know that I really doubted it, but he's definitely the lead here. And he's great. You know, look, like, Bautista is one of those actors you're kind of going to get what you're expecting. But for what he's asked to do here, I think he's really good in this. And I felt that, you know, the emotion that they're going for in certain points. I mean, make no mistake, this is a goofball zombie movie. It's not a Sam Raimi movie. It's not trying to be over the top and silly, even though it hints that it's going to be that way, because it starts off with Richard Cheese doing Viva Las Vegas as he's dressed up like Liberace.
Yeah.
And you've got, you know, topless showgirls chasing down some dude and trying, you know, before they eat him, they rip off his toupee. But you know, this is okay. It's not genius. It's not some revelation about the zombie genre. But for what it sets out to do, this kind of, you know, heist that is, you know, they're armed to the teeth and they're shooting zombies, and it's, you know, brutal and super gory in places. Yeah, it's all right. I kind of dug it.
Yeah, I think it's not as good as Dawn of the Dead, but it's the best thing Snyder's made since Dawn of the Dead.
Totally.
You know, and I think that it is a movie that promises at times to be a much better movie than it winds up being, but what you get is pretty good. It's a pretty solid zombie movie. It's a pretty solid action movie. I think the characters could have been more fleshed out, even because, and this came up before. There was some heist movie where I complained that the characters weren't well drawn up. You're like, oh, well, in heist movies, everybody's just defined by the thing they can do. And it's like, yeah, but in a really good heist movie, you get a little bit more than that. And you don't get that so much here. A sentence I never thought I would say: Tig Notaro is the new Christopher Plummer.
Let's talk about that, because that was so interesting how that all shook out. So Chris D'Elia was supposed to play the role of the helicopter pilot, who is a key part of the team,
Right.
the Ocean's 11 here that gets assembled. And of course, when all of the gross stuff came out about Chris D'Elia and, you know, sexual assault allegations, they had to digitally remove him. I read a whole thing about how they did this. Like Tig Notaro is not really acting opposite other people. Like they put her in green screen scenarios, and it's totally seamless, you guys. Like, I think if you know that that was the deal and you're looking for it, you can kind of see it in the way bits of dialogue are edited where like the camera's just on her and then it'll cut back to Dave Bautista and Ana de la Reguera, who is his like partner in crime. And you can tell like the way they're cross-cutting between them that was recreated. But more often than not, you have to be looking for it, and it doesn't take you out of it at all. And it was so like incredibly complicated to redo it with Notaro. But I like her so much in this. She brings such a great, like, fun energy to it.
Yeah, like she chews her way through the scenery and a series of Havatampas, and she's a lot of fun to watch. And I think she is going for broke in the kind of movie that they're making here. And you get that from some of the other characters, like Garrett Dillahunt plays the sort of flunky of the Japanese billionaire who clearly has, like questionable intent, and he's just like super evil and really leaning into that stuff. And this plays with zombie lore again, the whole thing about how there are shamblers, but there are also alphas who are smarter and more capable and have other abilities and can move fast. There is there's an interesting political subtext where after the zombie war, they have these camps set up ostensibly to contain the zombie menace, but mainly to like pack in like, undocumented immigrants and people who are like, they think, what is it, like abortion rights and LGBT activists or something. But like, the government is using this stuff as a cover to like crack down on dissidents. So there's a lot of ideas here, and there's some really fun sequences, and there's some really exciting stuff involving like, how do you get to the vault in the first place? And once you're there, how do you open it? And, the revelations about what the billionaire's real agenda is. But it just doesn't all quite come together as well as you want it to, and you want it to because the movie promises that it's going to get there,
Well, it's maybe like the best use of Zack Snyderishness that I've ever seen. I mean, since his Dawn of the Dead, like that really amped up stuff. One was 300. That was after Dawn of the Dead, because Dawn of the Dead was like 2004, right? And 300 was anyway. It's after. But like, if you look at 300, if you look at Sucker Punch, if you look at the Snyder Cut,
please don't look at Sucker Punch.
There is such an oversaturation of just like the same kind of style over and over again with like
300 was 2006. Sorry.
Yeah. The grainy texture and the super slow-mo and just the like operatic heights of the use of music. And this is finally like a fun example of that, right? Like it's a light, people are, getting killed left and right. There's a massive body count. This doesn't take itself as seriously as so many of his other films. And it's a great use of his muscular style. So I am not a fan of his movies at all, but I finally thought, okay. This is the best possible marriage of the material with his approach to filmmaking to make it not seem like just such an oppressive slog. Having said that, it is repetitive. It's the same kind of scene over and over again, just in various slightly different places, whether it's like money and stuff flying into the sky or a whole row of zombies getting mowed down or whatever it is. It's the same few kinds of scene over and over with some slight changes. And it's like 2 hours.
I say it does not need to be this
long.
There's definitely
230.
There's Alonso, you're right. Like this is definitely less than the sum of its parts, but those parts that are in there's some of this stuff is some of the best, wildest stuff that I think Zack Snyder's ever done. First of all, this is the best use of Wagner since Excalibur, right?
Is that before or after Apocalypse Now?
After. It's like 1980.
Right.
Oh,
the best use of Gado Damarang since then, definitely.
It's relevant. It's relevant to why they use that.
It is both German and Germain. Tig Notaro steals every scene she's in, even though she wasn't actually there on set. She's doing essentially the same thing that she does in Discovery, if anyone's been watching Star Trek Discovery, which is like the sardonic, everybody's an idiot but me, but I don't give a shit. She's doing that exact same thing.
Her stand-up does that too.
Yeah, and it totally works, right? Like you're not you're not really asking for a ton out of the actors. You know, again, Bautista, I think, is really great. He does lend some emotion to it. I think he is underrated as an actor in a lot of places.
But I think the script lets him down, though, because it hints at this backstory that you just get little dribs and drabs of. And it's like, okay, there's a thing here that we're not talking about. Could we please spend 30 seconds talking about that? You know?
Right. Omari Hardwick as
he's really good.
He's really good in this. And there's one scene where he starts talking about time loops, and it's mind blowing. And it's like, man, that came in from a different movie, and it's wild, and it works. And then
he and Matthias Schweighofer have great comedic banter as well.
They had such great chemistry, and I was convinced that was a deeper relationship than we were seeing in the screen. And I wonder a little bit, did they step back from that?
Interesting.
Yeah,
I also saw that.
Yeah, there's shawarma at the end, kind of. But yeah, I thought this was fun. There was some confusion at the end as to who actually survived, but yeah, I think this is fun. I liked it. This is definitely my favorite, I think, of Snyder's movies.
Wow.
Yeah, I would say that too, because I don't really like his movie.
Well, I'm still going to go with Dawn. I think that's his best film, and I think, and you know what, I'm even willing to acknowledge that had I seen Army of the Dead in a theater the way I saw Dawn of the Dead, that maybe I would be a little bit more up on this. But I feel like Dawn of the Dead is a tight movie, and this one is like at 2.5 hours could lose some limbs and be like a lot more fleet.
Is it a pun? Lose some limbs because like they're zombies and.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely dropping. This is definitely dropping threads and even just visually giving you hints about stuff that it then never follows up on. And I know that there's talk about, there's going to be a animated series that's a prequel series that explains some of the stuff, and but
there's going to be a prequel movie, I think, with the Safecracker. I heard.
Oh.
Okay.
Anyway, I'm saying 6.5. I had fun. I agree with you guys that Dave Bautista has a lot more depth in him than we ever could have imagined from him playing Drax. He was so great in Blade Runner
2049.
Yeah, Blade Runner's the one where we get that hint like, we need to watch for him. And
it's
maybe
exciting.
Cast him. Yeah.
I want to see more. So I'm saying 6.5.
I'm also 6.5. Like, I think there's a lot to like about this movie, and I think there's enough to like about this movie that I'm glad I saw it, and I think that it is a step up from most of what Snyder's been doing up until now. But again, I got this taste of the movie that it could have been, that I could sense that he could have given us and didn't, and so that kind of dragged me down a little.
I totally disagree with you guys on the score. I'm giving mine a 6.5.
This is on Netflix. It's on out there today. Army of the Dead. Our numbers is 6.5.
And it was in some theaters last week. It may still be in a couple of theaters. And I'd see this in a theater.
Okay.
There are other things that I've seen at home that I want to see in the theater first, I think. But I wouldn't be averse if it were like a night out and that's what people were doing. All right, so yeah, it's on Netflix now. Thanks for watching, you guys. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out at BeFast All Day on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We are in the midst of recapping Hulu's The Handmaid's Tale and Amazon Prime's The Underground Railroad, and lots of other fun stuff coming up that's exclusive to our subscribers. You don't want to miss that. Patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Have a good week. See you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.